All right, Wayne Allyn Root with Bill O'Reilly. You can always find his insights at BillO'Reilly.com. And it's great to have you on the show. Hope you had a great weekend, Bill.
I did. I was down in Florida with Joe Namath at his foundation, Wayne, and it was really a great charitable event. They help football players, ex-NFL players with brain injuries and things like that. So it was really something, and I urge everybody to go to joenamath.org. Nice plug for Joe.
I've now figured out when I grew up, I want to be Bill O'Reilly. That's
that was great.
President Trump and Joe Namath, you're hanging out with nothing but my heroes. That's very cool. You know, I grew up in New York. Joe Namath was my hero. Joe Willie, Broadway Joe. Great stuff. All right, let's talk about the southern border because we've obviously got a nightmare there and a real crisis, despite what Democrats say. And Trump is threatening, the president is threatening to close the border with Mexico in order to, make them feel the heat until they cooperate with us and stop allowing all these Central Americans to walk through the border. So what say you about the prospects of closing the border?
Well, it's our lead story on BillO'Reilly.com tonight on the podcast. And I've said from the very beginning that Mexico does not cooperate with America in sealing its southern border with Guatemala to prevent tens of thousands of Central Americans to march through that country up into the border, the U.S. border. They don't cooperate. They could seal that border down there in Guatemala. That's not a hard thing to do. So the president's right to be really teed off. The problem is there's unintended consequences about closing the border. Hurts the U.S. economy. But in this kind of a situation, maybe you send a message. He's also threatening to cut aid, U.S. aid to Honduras and El Salvador and Guatemala, three countries that are really the big problem here right now. It is a national emergency. The Democratic Party doesn't care, and that sends a signal to people south of the border that we got an entire political party who wants us to sneak in, and that's the message that's being sent.
And there's kind of a part two of this. Beto O'Rourke was quoted over the weekend as saying there's no crisis. I had a radio interview this morning in Cleveland, Ohio, and I said to the guy, the radio host in Cleveland, I said, there's lots of arguments why someone might want the wall or not, but you can't say there's no border crisis. That makes the Democrats, to me, look like complete liars, complete idiots, or they know exactly what they're doing and they want everybody to march in. Is it a good strategy to say there's no crisis?
I thought that was a really, really poor assessment by Mr. O'Rourke. He lives in El Paso. I mean, that's one of the places that's suffering. And for him to come out and try to convince the American people that there's no problem down there, it's not even a matter of crisis. He says that, it's not a problem down here. No national emergency down here. And you look at it and look, I live in New York. I don't live on the border, but I can see the video. I see the stats. Wayne, in March, the Border Patrol are going to take in about 100,000 people on U.S. soil.
Amazing.
And Beto O'Rourke says there's no problem with that? So he's either stupid or dishonest. There's no other way. It's either stupid or dishonest. And this is a guy who wants to be president? I don't know him. I don't have any beef against Beto O'Rourke. But when I hear something like that, I just go, what? What? You have the nerve to say that? So, he's going to have to live with that.
I think it goes a long way to understanding Beto O'Rourke, Bill, that his name is Rob O'Rourke. He went to Columbia University just like I did. And in the Columbia newspaper, he was on the crew team, rowing. And every time they did a story on the crew team, it mentioned Rob O'Rourke. His name isn't Beto. So, he's a fraud. It's like Wayne Root would wake up one day and say, my name is whatever the Spanish word is for Wayne, to make like I'm Hispanic. He's not Hispanic. He's Irish. It's ridiculous, right?
Look, I don't care what his name is. All right, he could be Daffy Duck for all I care. All right, if the guy's going to run for president and tell the American people there's no problem at the southern border, he's a charlatan, period.
There you go. All right. Healthcare, another big issue that a lot of Republicans appear, if you believe what's in the newspapers, of course they lie about Trump every day, they claim in a recent newspaper article that Republicans in the Senate are rooting against Donald Trump getting health care, Obamacare, thrown out by the Supreme Court because they don't have a plan to replace it. They don't know what to do. So they're actually hoping he fails in his attempt to get it thrown out, get it killed by the courts. What say you?
I read the article in The Hill. I was disappointed with The Hill. I told the editor over there I was disappointed. If you're going to write an article like that, put names on it. All right, stop with the anonymous sources, okay? It's just dishonest. Now, I'm not saying there aren't Republicans who feel it's a bad strategy to go up against the Affordable Health Care Act with no substitute. I'd probably be in that category myself. If you're going to knock it out, you better have something better to put in its place. That makes sense, right? But to run an article that says, oh, all these Republicans want Trump to lose and then don't name any of them, that's the problem. That's what we're facing with in this country. All right, so who are these people? Why won't they put their name on it? What, are they afraid of Trump? Afraid he's going to come to their house? What are they afraid of? Policy differences are policy differences. Every party has them. On the bigger picture, Republicans need to be afraid because the Democrats are going to run on, we're giving you free health care. That's their main issue. That's all I got, really. We're giving you free health care if you elect us. You get it free. Medicare for everybody. Medicaid for everybody. So the Republicans better have some kind of program because a lot of people are going to go, you know what? I want free health care. My health care is killing me. The insurance payments are hurting me. The drug payments, I want it free. And, you know, Democrats are going to promise that.
The only thing I just don't get is why don't they have a backup plan? I mean, I've been working on one. Wayne Root's been working on a backup plan with several medical experts to send to President Trump because I don't think it's that difficult. I think there's an easy answer to this, and it's the free market. And I've got some ideas. I'm sure you, Bill O'Reilly, have some great ideas. And as a matter of fact, I want to call you the next couple of days and talk about it. It's not that hard to put a plan in place. Something's better than Obamacare, which increased my health insurance from $500 a month to $2,000 a month. That's enough to bankrupt any middle-class person. I think the middle class has been savaged, and no one's done anything to help them. Do you really think it's that hard, Bill, to replace Obamacare?
I think it's a complicated situation because of the expense involved and that the private insurance agencies don't really want to lower their premiums, and the drug companies don't want to lower their drug prices. So it's not easy. But I agree with you that, you know, if you sit around and you get some experts in and you come up with good ideas, but then you have to sell those ideas. You know, Medicare free is pretty easy to sell, Wayne. We're going to give you free stuff.
Right.
Free. Right. So, you know, the Republicans really have to pay attention to this.
I'm with you. People of Venezuela thought free was good, too, and look where they are now.
That's right.
All right, Bill O'Reilly. You can find his wisdoms at BillO'Reilly.com. We always value having him on, and I really appreciate it, Bill. Thank you.
Okay, Wayne. See you.